Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ever so close to the global release of Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth, and for all of the players that are currently playing it in the limited territory release, we have had official confirmation that the reset will happen US time on the 26th of April at 10 AM Pacific. So if you're like me on the east coast of Australia, that's around about 3 AM. It'll only be a few hours the server will be down, so good for me. It won't really affect me. I'll be asleep at that time. But that could also mean that we get an extra 2 weeks before the global release to get ahead of the game a little bit. But that's just my speculation. We'll see what happens once the reset happens and where that leaves everybody at that time. But for today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Gardener's Journey where you unlock Sam. And I'll also take you on a quick tour of the various stores in the game where you get to spend different currencies and tokens to see what characters you should unlock, what you might want to stay away from, because there are some really good options that might help you in that early game. If you can get a hold of some of these characters and manage your resources, you could build some of your better teams a lot faster. But for now, let's focus on the current mission here. This one is towards the end of the 3rd stage, so it's around about 20 missions in. So as you can see, I'm using the same light side team that I've been saying you should farm right from the start. This is perfect just to get you through these missions. You'll be able to unlock Sam pretty easy. Now these ones do give you Sam. You can see him in the top left here. As you go along, he does get a little bit stronger, so you get a good sense of his moves, how he works really well with Frodo, how he can protect the team. He is quite a solid character to have. And I have actually come up across the team with Strider and the 4 hobbits in the arena before, someone that had actually put quite a few resources into that team. They are really fast, lots of assists, and they can really be a handful if you do have a bit of a slower team. They can really tear you apart before you even get a turn. But the reason that I'm really drawing your attention to this part of the game is because I think going forward, this could be a really good indication of how they're going to release some of the characters. Now for this particular event, the only requirement is to have a team of light side characters to do this. It doesn't say that you have to have anyone specific for the first part of this event. Now you do have to get 100 shards for Sam to unlock him, so you will unlock him immediately at 3 stars once you do unlock him. And it will take you a little bit of time because it does get progressively more difficult, and you only have limited number of attempts at this per day, unless you want to pay for refreshes, of course. But even then, I think that's only limited, so you're not going to be able to unlock this guy on day 1 by any stretch. This actually doesn't open up until a little bit further into the game, so it might only be on your 2nd, 3rd, maybe 4th day into the game when you'll be able to get access to this. But if you have a look in the top right there, you'll see those apples. They are your energy for this one, so you only get 6 attempts. They recharge every 4 hours, which means you only get 6 every 24 hours. But along with the shards for Sam, you also get a lot of other resources, including some of the good gear parts that you're going to need. So make sure that you are doing those battles. It's really important for progress. And here you can see you get 2 refills per day, but they're 200 crystals each. So it is quite a hefty price to refresh when you probably don't need to. It's good just to do your 6 battles. You can come back the next day. It's just something extra to do during the day so you can have a better session while you're playing. And it's only going to take you a week or so to unlock him anyway. And like I said, given how much it costs to upgrade some of these characters, you don't need to keep unlocking and upgrading characters anyway, so it doesn't hurt to just wait that little bit longer for him. Now once you do unlock him though, that actually gives you access to chapter 2. Now that's where things get a little bit heftier, because the requirements to get into chapter 2 are actually a lot more difficult to get than what you might think. But given the rewards in chapter 1, I'm sure chapter 2 will be very worthwhile doing once you unlock it. But what you actually need to do to get there is have 4 Road to Rivendell characters at 4 stars. Now that is Strider and the 4 hobbits. Currently you can't farm Sam any further than what you get him in here, so he'll only be 3 stars. So unless that changes, I'm assuming you're going to need the other 3 hobbits and Strider. Now I'm assuming you have seen my guide for the light side, which does include Strider, Frodo and Pippin. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave a link at the end of this one so you can go back and have a look. But Strider, you get 10 shards every day for completing your 10 daily challenges. Pippin is in the first guild chapter, so very easy to farm. Frodo, you won't be able to farm him until Lightside Hard Chapter 3. He's in the very first node, but you do get him as your very first character, so at least you'll be able to gear him up anyways. But farming him won't take you too long to get to it. But the one that you will struggle with is going to be Merry. Now Merry is not farmable until Shadow Hard 5 Node 9, which is the very last Shadow mission that you can get to currently. So it's going to take a lot of work just to unlock him. Now there is a pack that they do offer you very early on in the game, which was actually fairly reasonably priced. That's where I picked him up. It's like a starter pack for the game. It may be worth getting him if you don't mind just spending a couple of dollars just to unlock him. But to be able to farm him up to that 4 stars is going to take you a really long time to get to. But the thing is that at least it gives you something to work towards while you're putting together all of your early game squads. Now the other thing I was going to show you by request is some of the stores that they have in the game and what you can buy and what you might want to stay away from. The first one of them is the main store. Now this one here, you can see at the top there, you've got the Rohan Hearthguard, you've got Gimli, and you also get the Great Goblin that does show up in here. You can also get the Shadow Crystal 2 and the Luminous Crystal 2, which are both very important for your light and dark sides, and it does refresh daily. It's important to note that character shards will cost you crystals and gear will cost you gold. Just note that this is the only place that you can actually get Gimli from, so for your daily crystal rewards, it can be worth saving them up to farm Gimli to unlock him. It may be a little bit more expensive to keep farming him after you unlock him, but the Great Goblin is a login reward, and the Rohan Hearthguard you can farm through other nodes, so I wouldn't worry about spending crystals on them, but Gimli could be well worth it. And next we have the Arena Store, which is where you're going to unlock Shagrat, who's very important for your Mordor team. He only unlocks at 1 star, so I would start with him as you're building up those arena credits. But after a while, as you can see, you get plenty of credits up there in the top right, so you'll be able to farm both of these. This is where you'll start putting together your Goblin team. So the Goblin Batmaster is going to be one of the ones that's easily accessible through here. So make sure that you're farming both of these, unlock them. Just keep getting the shards because there's currently nothing else worth spending those arena credits on. And you can probably already start to see how you're going to put that Goblin team together. It is a little bit of a long game, but that's why I was showing you the other teams to use in the meantime. Next we have the Challenge Store. Now it's currently looking a little bit empty, so it doesn't always give you the same things every time it refreshes. But these tokens you only get from the challenges 3 times per week, so depending on what level you're at, depends on how many tokens you're going to be able to get each time. But I wouldn't really use these on the gear. There are 2 characters that you can get from here. The first one is one I've touched on before, which is Halbarad. If you can get him unlocked, that should be your priority with these tokens. The other one you can get in here is Bolg. Now he is a massive damage dealer. You can unlock him pretty easily with these tokens, but unlock Halbarad first, and then you can start working your way through Bolg a little bit later, because there's not really a team in the early game that fits him as much. So Halbarad, 100% get him, especially if you like building the good side teams. you're going to get a lot of use out of him, especially in the arena, which will help you get bigger rewards on a daily basis. But next we have the guild store. Now there are two characters you can get from here, which is the Dunedain Swiftblade, which you can unlock. She does actually work quite well with Halbarad. Will take quite some gear to be more effective, but still not a bad one to have. The other one is the Haradrim Champion. Now he's an okay character to have, but isn't really going to fit in with many of your teams in the early part of the game. And until they have some better Haradrim characters in the game, or better synergy there, he's probably not one you're going to get. But the main thing that I use this for is for those rare ability materials. Now you're only going to get one at a time, but they will add up. And there's something that you never really have enough of. You can also get the Shadow Crystals and the Luminous Crystals from here. So again, something you can never have too many of. So I prioritize them before the characters at the moment. And this store also refreshes a few times throughout the day, so that way you can get access to a few more materials than some of the other stores. Now all of these are in your supplies section from the main tavern hub. They don't open up until I think it was level 18. Some of those stores don't open up until a few levels later. So don't worry if you open it up and you can't see them yet. They will unlock a few levels after that. But if you're looking at where you want to spend your crystals and your cash, that's where the main shop comes into it. And I don't want you guys to be intimidated. Like, yes, you can buy crystals. They're always going to sell you something. But you get plenty of crystal rewards just for playing the game. So your first chest that you've got here, 999 crystals. This one is very hefty for the Hobbit chest. You'll only get one Hobbit. You can get up to 150 shards, but it's going to be a rare thing to happen. I would probably steer clear of it, because yes, you could get 150 shards, but you may also just get 5. So you're actually going to be better off just refreshing energy and nodes just to farm your Hobbits instead of getting that one. The other option is your hero chest. Less than half the price. You can get up to 50 shards of any of the characters. You can get as low as 15. So it isn't a bad option to have. You can save up your crystals for these. Pretty much anyone is available, but just remember that some of those characters take 100 shards just to unlock. There's no guarantee you'll get the same one twice. So if you want to try and fast track a little bit, you might want to try these ones out, but generally speaking, if you don't have the crystals to spend, if you're not going to be buying crystals, probably, again, not the chest that you want to get. I have tried it twice. I got 15 shards from one, 25 from another. Probably not something that I'm going to be doing again. So if you're a free-to-play player, there are much better options to spend those crystals that you save up than some of these chests right here. Now, whether you're free to play or not, the next chest is something that you'll be absolutely interested in as many times as you can possibly get it. And that is your bonus chest that you can get every 4 hours. So we've got one available here, so we'll claim it. We'll see what we get out of it. So this will give you 3 guaranteed rewards. You'll get 2 shards of a random character, and that could be anyone, so even the Nazgul and some of those other ones that you can't farm. So here you've got 2 shards for Gimli. Very nice, I'll take that. You get some gear, and you'll also get either gold or some XP. And it's important to note that this chest here, it's not on a timer throughout the day where you can just go in and claim it. It's 4 hours from the time that you claim it. But the chests that you may want to try your hand at are first the Lost Treasure chest. Now this one here, it says you can get anywhere from 26,000 up to 1 million gold. You've probably got a better chance of winning $1 million from the lottery than 1 million gold from this chest. Generally, it pays out somewhere between 30 to 50. I have gotten over 100,000, not by much, but I have gotten up to that 100,000 mark a couple of times. So it can be worth having a go at. Maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get a much bigger payout than that. but gold is something you're always short of, so not a bad idea to try your hand at this one every now and then. But the other chests that you might want to have a go at are the gear chests. Now these ones here, if you're going to get these, make sure you're doing it from the search from the character screen, so you select the right one. But when you're talking about things like the shadow crystals and the luminous crystals, you want to get these chests because you can get a huge payout. I've had over 30 of those from one chest before, and the least that I've seen is 20. I've only had this one a couple of times. However, the payout seems to be pretty good, so if you do save up those 500 crystals and you want a really good boost on gear, they're not a bad idea to get these ones. So hopefully this gives you a better idea of where to focus your resources when you do get into the game. In the next one, we're going to be speculating a little bit more on some of the meta teams and some of the other characters that we haven't really touched on in the past, like the Nazgul. So if there is anyone that you want to know a little bit more about, pop it down in the comments and I'll see if I can work it into the video for you. But until then, like and sub, you know the deal. There's plenty more coming your way, and we'll catch you in the next one.